Sunlight streamed across stained glass, pouring violet, amber, and rose onto polished mahogany. Bells chimed beyond ivy-covered arches. Guests murmured excitedly, unaware of my trembling fingers hidden beneath crisp cuffs. "My name is Elijah. Today, I'm supposed to be happy." She arrived, shimmering like a fever dream. Valentina, my bride. Her dress hugged her like devotion incarnate. Every blink burned her image deeper into my skull. Applause erupted. I didn't feel it. Her eyes locked on mine, hazel suns behind lace. Something flickered. I couldn't name it. We stood together before the altar. Father Damien read from Corinthians, his voice a slow incantation. My ears registered syllables, but comprehension danced just out of reach. Something felt off. Not dread, curiosity. Her hand, slipping into mine, was colder than usual. "I do," she said. Firmly. Smoothly. "I do," I echoed. Kisses came. Cameras flashed. My heart stalled. Reception unfolded with opulence. Chandeliers, imported tulips, white gold cutlery. Tables stretched endlessly, each with name cards bearing titles from both our families. Waiters pirouetted through laughter, distributing wine like holy nectar. Everything sparkled, except her gaze. I tried to sit beside her. "Not here, go sit," she whispered, eyes darting across the room. I froze. "Somewhere else," she added, lips curving into something resembling a smile. A strange, tight expression. She wasn't joking. I obeyed like a puppet. Across the hall, I found myself next to her cousin, Sienna, fiery, unpredictable. She wore a slit emerald dress and an amused smirk. "Trouble in paradise already?" she teased. I forced a chuckle. "She probably just needs space." Sienna leaned in. "Or someone else filled it." I blinked. "Don't look at me like that," she added. "Valentina always needed more. You knew that, right?" I didn't answer. Couldn't. I stared at the seat I'd been exiled from. She laughed beside someone else, tall, suited, laughing too hard. A stranger? Maybe not. I rose. Wandered. Found solace near the bar. Bourbon numbed confusion, but only slightly. Toasts began. Best man Luca spoke with gusto. Valentina wiped a tear. Mine stayed dry. Later, beneath wisteria and fairy lights, she danced. Not with me. With him. Again. Hands too low, smile too wide. My chest tightened. I turned to Sienna. "Who's he?" "Alaric," she whispered. "Old flame. Never went out." My stomach dropped. The rest of the night blurred, champagne, confetti, laughter. None of it mine. Hours passed. Guests dwindled. She disappeared. So did Alaric. I found them near the gardens. Hidden behind vines. Locked together. Lips intertwined. Breathless. I didn't confront them. I watched. Frozen. Everything cracked inside. I turned. Walked away. Alone. I wandered blindly through twilight, crushed gravel crunching beneath leather soles, shadows elongating like lies under the moon's voyeuristic glow. Somewhere distant, violins played a melody too graceful for my fractured soul. Somewhere close, my wife was gasping into another man's mouth. I lit a cigarette, despite quitting last year, watching embers mimic my mood. Burning, fading, ash. Each drag pulled fury into my lungs. Each exhale bled weakness. Sienna found me behind the caterer's van, half-drunk, glassy-eyed. "Don't tell anyone," I muttered. She leaned against the wall beside me, heels clicking in defiance. "You saw them?" I nodded once. She looked away. "You deserved to know." "How long?" I asked. "Before you even proposed." My chest caved in. "You're lying." She didn't blink. She never stopped seeing him. "You were just the safe choice." The silence that followed wasn't empty, it screamed. Sienna's voice softened. "I told her it would blow up eventually. She said you'd never find out." I laughed, bitter and sharp. "Well, here I am." "She's a fool," Sienna said. "You're good." I met her gaze. There was something honest in it. Too honest for this night. Inside, music rose. A cheer. Someone had cut the cake. I was done pretending. Without speaking, I left the alley and re-entered the hall. Everything felt surreal. People dancing, smiling, clinking glasses, completely oblivious. Valentina appeared beside the fountain, reapplying lipstick. Alone. I walked past her without stopping. She didn't say my name. Didn't reach for my hand. Didn't care. Back in our suite, walls seemed tighter. Her perfume lingered like a ghost. I paced. Unpacked. Repacked. Considered vanishing into the night, heading anywhere anonymous. Instead, I drank from the minibar. The door creaked open. She entered silently, heels in one hand, dress askew. Her lips were redder than before. She looked surprised to see me awake. Elijah. Don't, I said. She blinked. You're upset. No, I lied. I'm enlightened. She dropped her shoes, approached slowly. It didn't mean anything. That's a lie, I whispered. Everything about today, this marriage, this farce, means nothing now. She touched my chest. I flinched. Elijah, I made a mistake. Was it a mistake last week? Last month? At the rehearsal dinner when he just happened to be there? She paused. And in that pause, I found my answer. She didn't deny it. I stepped back, disgust washing over me. She whispered, I thought I could love you the same. You chose stability, I said. Not love. Tears welled in her eyes. I thought I could change. No, I murmured. You hoped I wouldn't notice. She sat down, head in hands. It's not like that with him. He burns everything. You calm me. I didn't marry you to be your sedative. She said nothing. I turned away, heart hollow, fists clenched. Behind me, she whispered, stay the night. We'll figure this out. I hesitated, then said, I'm not sleeping beside a liar. I left the room. Sienna's door was slightly ajar. I knocked. She opened it in a robe, makeup smudged, expression unreadable. I couldn't do it, I said. She let me in. The room was dim, warm. I collapsed into the armchair, shoulders heavy. Sienna sat on the edge of the bed. You don't have to talk. But I wanted to. So I did. Everything poured out, how I met Valentina, how I ignored the red flags, how I convinced myself I was enough for her. The lies I told myself hurt more than hers. Sienna listened, not interrupting, not judging, just present. When I finished, there was nothing left but silence between us. Thick, pulsing, inevitable. Then she stood, crossed to me, held my face in her hands. Let me erase her, she whispered. And she kissed me. Soft at first, then hungry. Her lips didn't taste like betrayal. They tasted like revenge. Fingers tangled in hair, clothes slipped away like secret. Her skin ignited something buried under grief, a desperate need to feel desired, chosen, alive. We crashed onto the bed, no hesitations, no apologies. Only urgency. Only heat. Only now. In her arms, I wasn't Elijah the fool, Elijah the safe bet. I was Elijah the man reclaiming himself. We didn't speak. We devoured. And afterward, wrapped in sweat and moonlight, she whispered, You deserved better. I whispered back, So did you. But neither of us meant to fall asleep. Morning cracked open like a wound, pouring golden guilt across tangled sheets. Sienna slept curled beside me, hair strewn across my chest like wildfire aftermath. Her breathing was calm, mine wasn't. I slipped from the bed quietly, dressing without ceremony. My tie dangled loose. Wrinkled shirt stuck to sweat-soaked skin. My vows felt like a curse echoing against hotel wallpaper. In the mirror, I looked different. Older. Darker. More dangerous. Guilt didn't hit me the way I expected. I wasn't ashamed. I was alive. The elevator groaned as I descended, skipping the breakfast I knew Valentina would be attending. I wasn't ready for her games, her crocodile apologies. I needed clarity, space, maybe even chaos. The lobby pulsed with life. Guests checking out, valets hustling, tourists snapping photos near the fountain. Nobody looked at me like a man who'd lost his wedding night to his wife's infidelity and claimed her cousin in retaliation. Nobody knew. Except her. Except me. A hand clasped my arm. Valentina. She wore sunglasses indoors, red lipstick perfectly reapplied, body wrapped in cream cashmere like scandal never touched her. We need to talk, she said. I laughed. Now you're ready? Please. I followed her into a quiet alcove behind potted palms. The fake privacy of hotels. She sighed. I made a mess. You made a choice. I never meant for you to get hurt. But you did. Her lips trembled. I was scared. Of what? Boredom? Happiness? Of settling, she admitted. Of killing the fire. You killed something else instead, I replied. Trust. She looked down. I never stopped loving Alaric. I figured. But I wanted to love you. You don't try to love someone. You either do or you don't. Silence. Only the low hum of jazz spilling from the distant bar. Then she looked up. Where did you sleep? I met her gaze without flinching. Sienna's room. Her nostrils flared. Her jaw clenched. You're joking. I'm not. A single tear slipped down her cheek, but not sadness. Rage. You slept with my cousin? You kissed another man before the reception was even over. Her voice dropped to a snarl. So you punished me? No. I escaped you. A slap came fast. I let it land. The sting on my cheek was honest. The most truthful thing she'd given me. She stormed off, heels clacking like war drums. I didn't follow. Instead, I walked out of the hotel into the sun, into something real. Later, back upstairs, Sienna sat cross-legged on her bed, scrolling through her phone like the world hadn't shifted on its axis. Her robe was open. My tie hung around her neck. You told her, she said flatly. I owed her honesty. She sighed. Now what? Now. I exhaled. I figure out who I am without her. Sienna stood, walked over, and placed a hand on my chest. You're stronger than you think. Am I? You didn't break, she said. You didn't become her. I held her wrist gently, then looked into her eyes. I don't want this to be revenge. It wasn't, she whispered. At least, not just that. Her kiss was slower this time. Softer. Worse in a way. Because it felt like more than fire. It felt like forgiveness. We tumbled again, tangled again, but this time something unfamiliar crept in. Tenderness. Her nails didn't dig. Her teeth didn't bite. Her sighs didn't scream rebellion. They whispered healing. Afterward, we lay in silence. This time, neither of us pretended to sleep. She turned to me. What are you going to do? I stared at the ceiling. Confront him. Alaric. I nodded. That won't go well. I don't care. You're not a fighter, Elijah. No, I said. But I am a husband. Or at least I was. By evening, I found him in the rooftop lounge, sipping bourbon like he hadn't torn a marriage apart. He wore smug like a cologne. Even before I spoke, he smirked. Elijah, he said. Fancy seeing you here. I didn't sit. You kissed my wife. He tilted his glass. She kissed me too. I should knock your teeth in. He shrugged. But you won't. Why not? Because you're not me. No, I said. I'm better. He leaned forward. Is that why she kept crawling back to me? I stepped closer, fists clenching. She won't again. Oh? You think Sienna's any different? The words stabbed before I even understood them. What? Oh please, he said. You think she hasn't been in my bed too? He smirked. I froze. Everything went cold. He saw it and chuckled. Yeah. Last summer. After Valentina ghosted me. Funny how your whole wedding turned into a reunion of my exes. I didn't hit him. I left. I walked. Fast. Breath ragged. Mind spiraling. Could it be true? Had Sienna lied too? When I returned to the suite, she stood at the window, wrapped in one of my shirts. She turned slowly. You look like death. I stared. Did you sleep with him? She blinked, then nodded. Once. Pain sliced clean through. When? I asked. Last year. Once. Before I knew you'd proposed. You said you hated him. I do. Then why? Because I hated myself more that night. I sank onto the couch, the room spinning. Everything's tainted, I whispered. Sienna knelt beside me. I didn't lie about this week. But you still took from him. I didn't know he still owned anything inside me. I looked at her. Looked hard. I need space. She didn't argue. She just nodded and stood, quiet tears sliding down her cheeks. As the door shut behind her, I realized. The only person who hadn't lied to me was the one I hadn't even looked at. Me. I stayed in that suite for hours. Lights off. Curtains drawn. Silence thick. It was the kind of quiet that gets inside your head, echoes back the worst parts of yourself louder and louder until there's no escaping the sound of your own unraveling. No Valentina. No Sienna. Just me. And the truth. I'd spent months planning a wedding for someone who never planned on staying. I'd fallen into bed with someone who once fell into bed with him. And I still didn't know what I wanted. Revenge, peace, closure? Maybe just silence. By midnight, I was walking again, through alley-lit cobblestone, past closed cafes and forgotten newspaper stands. The city no longer sparkled. It sulked, shadows swallowing neon. I passed the chapel where we'd said our vows. The doors were locked. Fitting. I ended up at the river, its current restless like my thoughts. I sat on a bench. Smoked my last cigarette. Let the wind slap my face like it was trying to wake me up. Then my phone buzzed. A single message. From Sienna. I didn't lie to you. Not about how I feel. I don't know what this is, Elijah, but I'm sorry for my part in all the noise. If you never want to see me again, I understand. But I never used you. Not once. No lies. No excuses. Just a flicker of truth. And for the first time in days, I didn't feel like the room was tilting beneath my feet. I didn't respond. I wasn't ready. Instead, I returned to the hotel, packed everything. Tossed the tux, the champagne-flavored toothpaste, the silver cufflinks engraved with a date I'd rather forget. All of it into a trash bag. I left the ring on the pillow. Not as drama. Not as a message. Just a full stop. I booked a one-way ticket. Somewhere far. Coastal. Warm. No memories waiting in every doorway. I didn't tell anyone. Not even Sienna. Not even Valentina. 3 months later. Salt air. Blue water. Noise reduced to seagulls, waves, and the occasional guitar from the balcony below. I rented a flat above a dive bar on the edge of Lisbon. Nobody knew my name. That was the best part. I found work, nothing serious. Just helping the local marina guys haul nets and scrub deck. Honest labor. Salt on my skin. No pretending. Nights were slow. Peaceful. Solitary. But sometimes I'd think about them. Valentina, probably back in high heels, pretending none of it ever cracked her. Alaric, chasing dopamine and drama, destined to ruin someone else's ceremony. Sienna, maybe cursing herself for telling me the truth too late. But mostly I thought about me. The version I'd become. The one who didn't crave fireworks, or validation, or borrowed passion. The one who finally chose himself. Then, one evening, she walked into the bar. Sienna. Hair shorter. Eyes heavier. She spotted me instantly. Walked over. Didn't speak right away. Just sat. Ordered something strong. And then, without looking at me, she said, "I've been looking for you for weeks." Why? I needed to tell you that I left. Left the city. Left the games. I'm not her. I don't want to be her. I'm not asking for anything, except maybe a drink. I studied her. No lies in her voice. No seduction in her posture. Just a woman who made mistakes, and didn't run from them. "I'll buy the second round," I said. She smiled. And for the first time in a long time, so did I. We sat for hours. No kissing. No fire. No pretending. Just two flawed people in the quiet aftermath of a storm, not promising forever, not promising anything. Just sharing a moment. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough.